the liquor duck. Okay, dokie.
Here we go.
I believe we are live. We are live and in color, and we are ready to answer your fantasy football questions for week 5, or maybe even for tonight's game. Badaki, have we officially heard Saquon Barkley? I know he was doubtful. I'm assuming he's not playing tonight. Is that correct?
Yep.
Do we have any information on that?
We do have information. Saquon Barkley is out. Sad face. But Matt Breida.
Yeah.
The X factor tonight. No.
Why don't we go ahead and start there? Like, what are your expectations for Matt Breida today? Then?
Look.
He was the start of the week for me this week. I'll say that. So.
I would say this. They're going to run the ball more than what? I think it was 12 times, 13 times last week.
Yeah. Did not have many opportunities to run the ball.
Versus the 40. It's not even like as Matt Breida. It was more like the running offense. The run offense was non-existent. So now coming into this week, I do believe they're going to run the ball. Maybe it'll be by committee. Maybe they'll get Wandale in the backfield. Whatever the case may be. But I think the expectation specifically from Matt Breida, I don't expect that. Maybe he finds the end zone like last week. But I do believe he gets a lot more targets as well coming in. But
I'm with you.
We just need to win.
If you look at last week, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone, guys. But if you look at last week, I'm just looking some stuff up. He played over 80% of the snaps. I remember I talked about this in a video. He also saw the only goal line opportunity. He was playing on first and second downs. He was playing in passing situations. So Gary Brightwell was there, yes, but he was more there kind of like just to spell. He wasn't necessarily like a huge part of the game plan. So if you have him tonight and you had Saquon, I'm going to put a point on it. I'm going to say I would expect over 10 PPR points. I'm not going to say anything ridiculous like, yeah, he's going to put up 20 points. I think his ceiling is around 15 to 17, but I think you should expect around 10. Would you agree? Or?
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that can either come in the air or even in the goal line situation, which he did last week.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't exciting, at least you got 10 points from him last week. So hopefully we get this W, and it's a must-win game.
It is. All right, let's go ahead and answer some questions. We are answering your questions. Go ahead and put them in the chat. Super chats do get answered straight away. Otherwise, we'll go in order. Only thing that we ask is, in return, can you please drop a like on the stream just to help the channel grow? As we help you set your lineups, you can help the channel. Our first question is from Patrick Mahomey. He says, hey, guys, we almost lost to Zach Wilson this week, but I had to get us a win in the end. Anyways, would you make this trade? You get Tyreek Hill, but you give away Purdy, Dobbs, and McLaurin. So assuming this is a one quarterback league, this is the easiest no-brainer. Yes, I think I could answer, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
And then he says, I think it's a good trade. Since the person I'm trying to trade is 1-4 and desperately needs a quarterback, then yes, I think that's a good deal for you. What is up, Corey? Yo, need to start 2. 1 flex and 1 running back. McLaurin, Drake Bell, Khalil Herbert, and Chuba. So need to start
for next
2.
week, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah, start 2 at the 1 flex, 1 running back. Well, it looks like it's gonna have to be Khalil Herbert, but they're going against the Washington Commanders there.
Yeah, that's a good matchup for him. And he kind of took over the backfield last week.
Yeah, he did. He did have a good week this past week, a decent week, I would say. So I'm going Khalil Herbert at the running back position. At the flex position, I think out of all those guys, I think you have to go Drake London.
Really?
I'm going Drake.
Even after last week, you're going Drake.
Well, London had a decent week. If I'm not mistaken.
Have you sat down and looked at the matchups this week?
I haven't sat down and looked at the. Okay. I didn't actually sit down and look at the game. If that's what you're asking.
So
what are you talking about?
I spent like a couple hours this morning setting my rankings this week. I strongly would suggest you to maybe rethink that one, just in my personal opinion. Drake London goes up against the Houston Texans. It's the same thing as last year, guys. The Texans do not give up points to wide receivers in fantasy. They're the second worst matchup right now. And you also have to rely on Desmond Ridder getting the ball to Drake London. I don't think that's a good idea. Meanwhile, you have Terry McLaurin coming off a 10-target game. He put up over 22 points, didn't have a single touchdown versus the Eagles. Now he gets to play the Chicago Bears, one of the best matchups. So I would strongly suggest that you start Terry McLaurin. In fact, there's 20 spots different between my rankings between those two players this week.
Okay. I mean, look, like I said, I need to look more into the stats of the Texans, um, and I'll figure it out because I know Michael Pittman didn't have a good game this week as well, and he did play the Texans. Oh no, sorry, not Michael Pittman. Um,
Played the Rams there.
yeah, he did play the Rams. I'm looking at the week
It
before.
was the Steelers who played.
Yeah, it was the Steelers. That's what I meant to say. George Pickens, but at the same time, it was Kenny Pickett. It was everyone that was kind of like just extremely struggling there.
Yeah.
So I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. Chris says, is CJ Stroud a start over Goff and Dak next week against Atlanta? I'll tell you this. I have CJ ranked as my quarterback 9 this week. That is over Dak, and that is over Jared Goff. So, yeah, CJ Stroud. I talked about it in this morning's waiver wire video. He's officially moved from streaming option to weekly starter. You know, that's how I view it.
100%. I think if you look at the points per game, CJ Stroud is clearly averaging more than both Goff and Dak Prescott. If there's one that you should be considering to start over, I would say maybe Jared Goff, over CJ Stroud because of the matchup, personally. But Dak Prescott hasn't been averaging as much as we liked him. He's QB 21 on the year so far. Just under 14 fantasy points, where CJ is averaging just under 19 fantasy points, and he's QB 10 on the year right now. So give me CJ.
Jared does get Jameson Williams back, but against Carolina, I struggle to see them pushing this to a shootout. You know, it could be.
I agree.
Could be a ground game for Detroit again. Should I be starting Achane? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look. Here's the deal. Raheem Mostert might have just really lost his job. That's what I'm viewing this as. I mean, he had 2 fumbles, and we already had the explosive, exciting Devon getting worked in. And then you fumbled twice? 1 lost? Definitely impacted the game. I'm not going to sit here and say Raheem Mostert's not someone that you can start, because he's still the RB14 or the RB24, excuse me, in my rankings this week. But Achane has moved into like the must-start category. He's my RB14 this week, 10 spots higher than Raheem. You know, his second game, kind of as a full-time guy, he already outsnapped Raheem Mostert, 60% to Mostert's 43. They were on the field at the same time at moments, but Mostert's still going to get worked in. It's not going to be like no one's going to see 70, 80% of this backfield, right? It's going to be a split, but I think Devon is going to be the one that you'll want to start moving forward.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I was completely wrong about Devon. You know what's crazy is that I thought he'd be more worked into the air, where he hasn't been a huge factor. Not that he hasn't been in part of that game plan, but like he has been significantly more efficient on the ground.
Yeah.
Which is very surprising to me, because I thought he'll be more of a passing back,
I think
running back.
Kind of like, I guess like us Devon Achane truthers can take a victory lap. It's only 2 weeks, but what I was saying for that community was like, hey, we don't expect him to get 20 touches a game. In week 3, he did. He got 22. I think a narrative was more like, in this offense, if you can get 10 to 12 touches a game, then you're going to be a really valuable player for fantasy. Last week, 27 PPR points. He only touched the ball 13 times, you know? So it's just the perfect marriage. And I don't see a scenario in which this team trades for Jonathan Taylor now, you know? That seems like out the door with what Devon's doing.
Yeah, I agree. Bike Walker, how you doing, man? He says, what's up? Need a defense for this week. Who do you got thinking between Washington versus Chicago, Detroit versus Carolina, or Houston at Atlanta? I would personally go...
This would be Washington for me. They're a start of the week for me at the defensive position. I brought them in the waiver wire video. They play the Chicago Bears. Bears give up like their top 3 in sacks allowed. Washington, that defensive line has been legit this year. The secondary has been sus, of course. But they're top 7 in sacks, so it would be Washington for me.
Yeah, I think Washington is a great start. I would say Detroit is a close second here versus Carolina. I think they have been great on defense, in my opinion, and they're going to get to Carolina and sack Bryce Young without a doubt, in my opinion. So, I think that's a good safe floor. But both of them are good
Bryce
starts. I would say.
Young, dude, does not look comfortable in that pocket at all.
No, he's not looking good.
I'm not ready to give up on Bryce. Nowhere near ready to give up on him. In fact, I still think like he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. But what I am ready to sit here and admit is that they need a top 5 offensive line unit for him to succeed.
That's exactly where I was going to go. I was like, he needs a better offensive line to sit in that pocket and to distribute the ball, because he is not having any time. He's going to have to scramble and rush, which is a concern because that's how injuries occurs for these smaller quote unquote quarterbacks.
Yeah. So Carolina, I'm not ready to give up on Bryce. Clearly you don't start him in fantasy right now, right? Unless you're in like a super flex league, maybe. But again, they need a top offensive line for him to be successful, and they need better receivers on that team. Lewis, what is up? Pollard, Mixon, Lamb, Cup, Olave. Okay, so pick 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. How many are there here? He's asking us to pick
1 running back, 2
4
wide
players,
receivers.
and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So
you start Pollard.
To
no
me,
question.
Olave might be the sit until Derek Carr is healthy. I don't know if you got to watch that game, but Derek Carr was clearly not healthy, and he clearly wasn't able to throw the ball down the field.
Exactly. Which I don't know why they didn't play Jameis.
It's the worst pairing right now, quarterback to wide receiver, until Derek Carr is healthy. So what we got from Olave in the first 3 weeks, especially versus New England, I'm not sure we're going to see that unless they put Jameson in.
I agree.
Jameis, excuse me.
Yeah, Jameis, and I am. It's pretty frustrating because I was hoping that he was going to play, and when he became the starter, I thought that was a bad move personally. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. But if the thing is Cooper Kupp going to play?
If he plays, I'm playing him. I'm playing him over Olave.
But I think you know your answer there, Lewis, because if Cooper Kupp doesn't play, then you have to play Olave, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But hey, you'll see that. Chris, he says, you think a quarterback change in Atlanta is coming soon? I think it could, 100%. I mean, start picking up your Taylor Heineke.
Well,
start picking him up soon.
Remember, this is the same coaching staff and franchise who, when Lamar Jackson was on the trade block, quote unquote, we don't know, right? But when that was going around, they immediately said, no, we have Desmond Ridder. So,
no. Well, Lamar's there? Sorry. Do you know who we have?
We have Desmond Ridder on the squad. So the reason I say that is don't expect competency from the decision-making of this franchise right now at the quarterback spot. But I don't know how you play worse than what he did.
When's Atlanta's bye week? I think that's the bigger question.
It's not until week 11.
Oh.
Yeah. Would you trade Nakua for Waddle 1-for-1? I think at this point, yeah, you'd rather have Nakua. What I will say is if you have Jalen Waddle, I really don't believe this is anywhere near time to panic. Last week, I don't know if you guys saw, but he actually caught a touchdown. It was brought back because of a penalty. So he's going to be much better. They play the Giants next week. I would not, Badaki, like, no disrespect, but like, it could be Washington. I don't care who it is next week, right? I would not be surprised if Waddle puts up 40 points. You know, like, that is always within the range of outcomes for a player like that on that offense. Upcoming, he's got the Giants, Panthers, Eagles. And the Eagles, we've seen people put up big games on through the air. So I wouldn't panic on Waddle, but I would prefer Puka right now. I don't know how you wouldn't.
Yeah. I hear you. Swordfish. So you tell me start Addison over a chain down by 20. Big ouch. First of all, that's terrible.
Yeah, I'll just say this first, like as well. Like we can offer advice. At the end of the day, I hope people are making their own decisions, right? We don't have a crystal ball.
And we can't really dictate how many targets Addison's gonna get. I mean, how do you go from having 8 targets, like averaging 7 targets a game, to only seeing 1 target this past week? So I think that is a huge.
Yeah,
huge...
I'm sorry that we told you the wrong one. At the same time, take some ownership of your team as well. How do we feel about Pickens? Was hoping for a week to sell high. Yeah, definitely not ideal with his quarterback going down.
Yeah, maybe that helps him.
I don't know if it does though. I don't think I remember him being pretty annoyed with Mitchell Trubisky as a starting quarterback there last year. It didn't feel like Trubisky was targeting him at all. So yeah, I mean, I don't really feel like you can sell Pickens right now, but I would definitely be open to it.
Just all depends on what that is.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Styles.
we have a super chat actually.
Oh, we do.
CJ,
Okay, my bad. We'll get to
CG.
Styles in a second.
Yeah, I appreciate you. He says I have CMC. Jacobs, Connor, and Achane, which three to start? CNC for sure, but who else? Thanks for the help. No worries, man. Is that
Okay, so I'm assuming we have to choose two then, right? So Jacobs, Connor, and Devon. This would be Jacobs and Achane for me.
yeah, exactly.
CMC, Jacobs, Achane. You know, Connor is still a playable option. He's still unquestionably the guy in that backfield. But shout out to everyone who told me I was an idiot for bringing Josh Jacobs as a buy low, for telling people to start him. Really? You're going to tell people to start Josh Jacobs? This guy's an idiot. This guy's a clown.
Yeah. I said I did the same thing in like give him one more chance video this past week. I brought Josh Jacobs as somebody you should be starting as well. And what was he, like a top 5, top 10 running back this past week?
Yeah. I mean, I tried to encourage people before the week that, you know, just because what we've seen through 3 weeks doesn't mean we're going to see that from weeks 4 to 17. I mean, remember last year, first 3 weeks, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a top 5 running back. You know, for example, like things change, things don't always stay the same. And Josh Jacobs was one of those like no-brainer buys because of the volume. The volume was still there. He was top 5 in market share. So, man. Anyway.
I appreciate you for the super chat, but I hope that helps, man. It looks like you donated twice, but
no, you did donate twice. Sorry about that.
I'm not sure.
New York,
that works.
So nice you say it twice.
Talk it up. Hey, Styles, how you doing? It says start 3 for week 5. Happy PPR. Aaron Jones, Gibbs, Achane, Kyron. I'm still going Jones, Achane, and Kyron. Actually, I mean, I don't know how much more confident we can start moving forward with Gibbs at the moment. You spend a top 12 capital on him, and he only gets what 12 touches in total. 12, 13 touches in total in the whole game. Really disappointing, personally.
Yeah.
I'm still efficient, but very disappointing.
I'm with you there as far as like Gibbs is the one to sit of those options, but I do think he'll be better.
I do believe he will be better as well.
He is ranked as my RB19 heading into the week, so unless you're in like an 8 or 10 man, he's probably starting for most people for my rankings. But with those options, I would lean Gibbs being the one that you sit, as crazy as that sounds. Hey guys, almost 50 people watching the stream. We're going to be live until the game starts tonight, so do us a favor, go ahead and drop a like. Simple way for you to help the channel grow is by dropping a like, telling YouTube you like the content, and then we can help you by setting your lineup and answering your questions. As we told Swordfish, just keep in mind, make your own decisions. You know, we can tell you what we would do. We do not have a crystal ball. We can tell you what we would do. We'll do our best to help you. Sammy says, stick with Cowboys D. You going off week 5. I just don't know how you don't play the Cowboys defense every week.
Yeah. I mean, they're playing the 49ers, but yeah, it's hard to sit them. Hard to sit those guys.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Would you do Ridley, Godwin, Connor for Montgomery and Pacheco? Ridley, Godwin, and Connor for Montgomery and Pacheco. Man, Pacheco is really getting a hold on that backfield.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he had a great week this past week. I think we're starting to understand that the Jets' run defense is pretty bad. As the trends are starting to set here.
I would say this, like, it really depends on your needs, because on one side you're adding 2 wide receivers, on the other side you're adding 2 running backs. So
how's your wide receiver depth that you're losing here?
I'm gonna say it's like a relatively even trade, but I can't really say without knowing the depth. I would say there's more value in the Ridley side, but yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah. I hear you, Aaron. Is T Wood starting ever again? He has screwed me over so much. Yikes. I mean, this is something that Zach and I disagreed on a lot this past week. Zach was right about the Joe Burrow stuff of not starting him with confidence. I think there is a lot to this. I think T will be better, I would say. He is going to miss time. I think Joe Burrow will be better. So, look, the answer is T is worth starting later on after the injury, after the bye week, because I think that's when he's going to be coming back.
I heard a report recently that he might play this week.
Yeah, that could be the case as well. And if he does play this week,
are you starting?
It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It depends on who you have.
He's my wide receiver 26 when I looked at this week.
He's playing the Cardinals this week.
Good matchup, but they also shut down the Cowboys.
They also had an amazing matchup against the Titans, who gave up the 4th most points to wide receivers this past week. Or
I'll say this, like
before that week,
I struggle to if he plays, I struggle to think of like better options when it comes to like a 12-man. But in like a 10-man or an 8-man league, you probably might have a better option. So it just depends.
Yeah. I agree.
But yeah, I was doing my rankings this week, and I could not believe I have Josh Dobbs ahead of Joe Burrow.
It's crazy.
I am starting Josh Dobbs ahead of Joe Burrow this week.
I think it's clear because the Titans, if you watch that game, which I did, the Titans bullied Joe Burrow. You saw him where he wasn't going left to right outside of the pocket.
There's no mobility to his game.
There's no mobility to his game. And it was like it's clear if he's not healthy, bully down the middle or bully on the sides because he's not going to be doing anything. He's not going to be running left to right. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yep.
Sammy said start two Puka, Devonta Smith, Olave. I think it's Puka and Devonta Smith for the both of us. Hopefully that helps, man. Big Breakfast 1 and 3 have Eckler and Barkley as well as Higgins inbox over to trade my Eckler for Mixon and Nico. I'm keeping Eckler. And I also
I would agree.
I'm keeping
Eckler. That's the kind of trade I would send someone who's down bad in a league to try and take advantage of them.
Yeah, 100%. They have a bye week or whatever the case may be because Eckler's going to have a bye week right now, if I'm not mistaken. KJ, Howell or Dobbs as bye week?
Howe for
quarterback.
Me. Like Howell's matchup this week versus the Chicago Bears.
Agreed.
A Thursday night game. And I mean, look, after a terrible performance versus the Bills, he bounced back in a pretty big way versus the Eagles. I mean, I'm sitting here as a Commanders fan watching Sam Howell saying to myself, like, I mean,
holy shit.
Wow, this guy can play. I don't think we've had a quarterback like this since Kirk Cousins.
Miss you every day, Kirk.
Yeah. Hey, over 50 people watching the stream, guys. Do us a favor. Go ahead and smash that like button. Again, the reason we ask for a like is because when you like it, when you physically like the stream, you're telling YouTube that you like the content. In return, YouTube pushes us out to more people. So you're helping the channel grow when you smash that like button. And in return, we're going to help you guys answer your questions. So do us a favor, drop a like. And if you want your question answered straight away, drop a super chat. We'll be live up until kickoff. Next question is from Rivers. Rivers says, should I start Christian Watson or Michael Wilson? This would be Watson for me. Last week, Watson was on a snap count. And he only played 46% of the snaps. He found the end zone. They play the Raiders. I like the matchup for him. However, there were two names, Badaki, that I was obsessed with in rookie drafts, late round rookie draft picks in dynasty drafts this year. Puka Nacua, Michael Wilson, and I think you and I both have a lot of stock of those players. It's good to see it paying off already.
Yeah, Michael Wilson, phenomenal week this past week. Someone had to step up, Someone had to step up and do something, and it was Michael finally. 7 out of 7, 2 touchdowns, over 26 fantasy points.
Yeah.
It's great right now. Let's see more consistency.
Yeah, let's see more consistency. I think he's taking over the wide receiver 2 spot. I think they've realized how limited Rondale Moore is, and in certain scenarios, Rondale will be more important to that team. But if you look at percentage of routes run where you were targeted, I looked this up for the waiver wire video yesterday. Michael Wilson was at 20% clip. Rondale Moore was at 5%. So when these two players are on the field, Michael Wilson is being favored at this moment. Yeah. Kyra says, someone dropped B. Robinson. Should I drop Najee Harris for him? Honestly, I don't care which B. Robinson that is. It can be Brian. It could be Bijan. I'm dropping Najee Harris for that player.
I agree. I completely agree. Yeah. And Brian Robinson has, so far in this year, been better, significantly better than Najee, and been getting utilized a lot more.
Yeah.
And not splitting any time either. Keep that in mind. Donald Smith. I need 9.9 from Waller. Please be the bowler, please. Please be the bowler, please. Absolutely. I mean, I think it's definitely doable. Yeah. This is a great bounce back week for the Giants here versus Seattle.
I'll be disappointed if he doesn't reach that in PPR.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. Sammy Clark, start 3. Jacobs, Saquon, you can't start. Next week. Jacobs, Saquon, Kamara, James Cook, Mostert, Gibbs. Oh my God, Mixon.
This is pretty easy for me, actually. It's Saquon, it's Josh Jacobs, and it's Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I would go. If Saquon plays next week, that's exactly where you go. And if he doesn't, I think I'm going James Cook over the rest.
Can we talk about Alvin Kamara for a sec?
14 targets, my guy. Was it 14, 12 targets? Something
So,
ridiculous?
Yeah, the good news is that he had 14 targets and he caught 13 of them. The bad news is he had 33 yards on 13 targets. I really struggle to see how any coaching staff can look at that game and say, that's how we win games. Let's win games like that, you know? So, obviously, really happy for him. Let's see if that continues. But if you own Kamara, he should be in your lineup if they're going to target him that much. And this may be a reflection of Derek Carr's injury, right? Olave didn't get the targets downfield. They weren't accurate if he did. And Kamara is getting peppered out of the backfield. So, I mean, hopefully Jameis starts for Olave. But if you own Kamara, maybe you prefer that to be Derek Carr.
Yeah, it was very frustrating. I mean, I was watching that game as well. Taysom was getting a lot of snaps under center. Anyways, just a thought process. Donald, and happy birthday to your wife. I think I heard yesterday, and that's why you were out. Nice Giants jersey, my ninja. Appreciate you, Donald. Yeah, it was a jam-packed weekend full of activities for her. So, appreciate Zach for holding it down this past weekend.
What did you guys get up to?
Well,
what did you do for her birthday?
It was so we went to this thing called like Spiegel Tent, which is like a kind of like a burlesque, like raunchy type of Broadway show that her parents got for us.
Right.
It was fun. It's like funny. That has like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's just raunchy. Like.
Okay.
Anyways,
so
we did that.
It's
went
like
to
a
dinner.
Sexy show or something.
It's not a sexy show. It's like, how do I explain this? Basically, you had two hosts, and there's a massive performance, but the two hosts are funny, right? But what happens is that they do jokes, and they do like sexual jokes, and like there was one part where like the host had like a hat over like his crotch area, and then like he moves the hat, and then like his balls are out, and like he's doing like this bit where his balls are out, and like he's walking around the, like and that's what I'm saying.
Sorry,
it's like
his real balls.
Yes, his real balls are out, and he's like walking around the crowd and like saying like, I can't wait to have like this big performance. Like there's gonna be like this big performance, and it's just like a lot of stuff. And it's not just like raunchy like with guys. The same thing with girls. Like,
sorry, so you guys watch porn together?
No, it's not porn together, but it's just a show. I don't know how to explain it. It's called Spiegel Tent. You would actually genuinely, I think you would like that. And I know that sounds crazy, and I'm probably giving a really terrible
you were like, hey,
explanation.
this guy, basically, we went to a dark alley, and this guy showed us his ball sack. I think you'd like it. I think you'd love it.
It was so much more than that. It's so much more than that. There was also girls. I know you like girls as well.
Big fan of them. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, it's probably a bad explanation, but it was really fun. It was exciting. And we did that. We had dinner. We spent time with family. We went to the beach because it was hot as hell this past weekend as well.
Yeah.
It's hot as hell today as well. Summertime. Anyways, appreciate you, Donald. Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
And happy birthday. He said Patrick Mahomes also is giving Purdy and Amon-Ra for Tyreek a good trade. Just in case other trades doesn't get accepted.
And that one, I feel like, look,
that's an AC on.
If you have a reliable QB1, I'm assuming this is a one quarterback league. In Superflex, no, I'm not doing that. I'm keeping Purdy. But if you're in a one quarterback league, I'm fine with it. What I will say is I think you can get something else in return. But yeah, I do believe that Tyreek is an upgrade from Amon-Ra rest of season. Purdy versus Goff, I'm going Purdy. I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, well, they're back-to-back in my rankings. The reason I'm interested in Purdy is because I think it will be the first time where they really need to not just run the ball out, They played Pittsburgh, they played the Rams, they played the Giants. The Rams was a game that was competitive, but in most of those games, they're kind of like just controlling the game. I think they'll finally be in a situation where they might need to throw the ball at times, or be more positive game script potentially. We're still looking at Purdy here as the quarterback 11 on the year. So yeah, I'm gonna go Purdy, but it's very close between those two. They're back to back in my rankings.
It is very close, and kind of like we mentioned earlier, this game plan versus the Lions versus the Panthers. You kind of envision that being more of a down game or run game, excuse me. Sure. Chris says, why are you guys never in your Dynasty channel nowadays, and what should I trade. Look, first of all, Chris, we'll definitely be on a Dynasty channel. We're just focusing more on redraft right now.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot more Dynasty content here coming up. I would say next coming weeks, maybe even next week. So stay tuned for that, Chris. We're just trying
Maybe
to
even
focus
this
on
week.
redraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just trying to focus on redraft right now and give as much as time and effort into that as the season is honestly still full swing.
So if anyone is at all interested, we do have a Dynasty channel. In the off season, we're pumping out like almost 10 videos a week at times.
Bro,
4
it is
live
ridiculous.
streams
Yeah.
a week. It's crazy. It's mental. We love it. But if you're into fantasy football, you'll probably love Dynasty. It's just a deeper way to play the game. And essentially, you know how in regular redraft, okay, it's done. That never happens with Dynasty. Dynasty is always going. Football is always being talked about. We're talking about rookies. So yeah, we'll be back on the channel. It's just right now we're drowning in redraft content. If you want a real honest answer, everything you guys ever see us put out, it's just me and Badaki. Like, it's only us. From
Editing,
coming up with the
graphics.
ideas, from scripting to research to design
100%.
to graphics to video editing. To admin, everything that you see us put out, it's just me and him. So think about that. 722 videos over on the Dynasty channel. How many do we have on our redraft channel? On the redraft channel, 780 videos. Most of that in the last 2 years, and it's only been us. So that the reason I say that is because like you guys can see kind of behind the scenes a little bit there. We're trying to put out as much as we can. We'd love to be in a position where we have people who can edit videos for us. We just don't have the finances to compensate them. But at some point, if we ever are in a position where we can afford to, hire people, or I don't know how far away we are. We're probably pretty far from that. We'd be able to put out more content and maybe even start the podcast back up and stuff like that. So anyways, that's a real in-depth answer that, maybe no one asked for. But we'll be back.
Yeah, we'll definitely be back. So appreciate you, man. Stay tuned for that. AC says, yo, time to bench T-Law and Burrow. Trevor Lawrence still has been disappointing. Hasn't been that up there where we were expecting so far.
I'd still start Trevor, but not Burrow.
Not Burrow. Yeah, I would agree there. AC said, how you feeling tonight? Must win for the Giants. No, tough schedule coming up. Yeah, I mean, honestly, these first 6 weeks are tough schedules for us. If we come out 3-3, I think that's a win. Anything less than that is really like concerning. So I'm feeling good about tonight, though. Even without Saquon, I think this is gonna be a great bounce back game for the Giants personally.
Yeah,
but
says,
maybe we'll see.
In a spot, both running backs are on bye. Do I start Rashawn or Tajay? Man, no idea.
And
I think I lean Rashawn.
Yeah, because look,
I'd lean.
I think
Rashawn,
I might go.
No idea.
Yeah, I have no idea either. You close your eyes, pick one. Hopefully, whichever one. I would actually go Tajay there, playing the Colts. Roscoe looks like not that like Herbert took over the backfield this past week. Yeah. So I'm gonna go Tajay.
It could be a hot hand approach in Chicago though, so you know there's a chance that Rashawn is the hot hand. What we know is if the Titans are in control of that game, Derrick Henry will be running the ball. So it's tough.
So how good they were when they ran the ball? Yeah. Gosh, it makes sense. Anyways, that's just my personal annoyance.
They're also not going to face teams that can barely move the ball like the Bengals every week either.
I know, and I'm not saying that, but like their offense is better when they run the ball, in my opinion.
I hear you.
But anyways,
time to start Hollywood over D-Hop. Honestly, I feel like it's kind of been time, right? We're finally. I think we're all finally on the same page. Like, Hopkins is not looking good in Tennessee.
I mean,
this is someone I was pretty low on heading into the season.
I wonder if Hopkins like called up Julio and said, "What you think?" and Julio just completely lied to him.
I don't think he wouldn't need to call him to remember how it went. I don't understand. I mean,
anyways.
Like to me, the way that Hopkins is played, the way the offense is looked, and how little interest there was from other teams. Maybe I'm just completely misreading it, but it kind of just shows me that the reason no one was interested, he's not the same player. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I would disagree. I think he has a lot of juice left. Maybe another year.
I don't
or
think
two,
he's a
but like,
top 24 wide receiver in the NFL anymore.
I think he could be. I don't think he's a top 24 wide receiver in maybe fantasy. I think in real life I think it's still there. Maybe in fantasy it's just not what we expect. Anyways,
if you were owning a franchise right now, would you rather have Jacoby Myers or DeAndre Hopkins? Take fantasy out of it.
I think it depends where I'm at.
I think regardless, I'm taking Jacoby.
If I'm trying to push right now, if I'm trying to push and need a wide receiver that can take my team to the next level, I'll take DeAndre Hopkins. But I would agree. Yeah. Long term, I understand the long term play. If I'm a young team, like the Panthers, like whatever, I want Jacoby. But
I think today, if you were to ask me, like, would you rather have Romeo Doubs for this year or DeAndre Hopkins on your NFL team? I think I would go Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, but I think, in the beginning of the season, everyone's saying D-Hop, no question.
Yeah,
but I get what you're saying. Sure. Yeah.
Shaid, what is up? Sorry if this is only redraft talk, but would you guys trade Nakua for Achane in a dynasty league? I think Puka should be valued higher. However, this is coming from a Devon guy. Like I'm a Devon truther, and I'm saying that. So, you would agree, right? Like
I would say Puka. I think the wide receiver fantasy life is significantly longer, and I'm still in agreement that this team is probably going to get another running back. Not this year, but maybe in next year. Not saying that's going to hurt Achane this year, obviously, because I think JT thing is out of question. But if there's somebody out there that they like in 2024 and they draft him, that could be a problem.
I struggle to see Devon's play not leading to long-term security, but we disagreed on that for a long time.
I think the only reason why I say that is because maybe it's just a one-off. Like we said the same thing with Kenneth Walker. Why the hell draft Zach Charbonnet?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. But that's the reason why I'm bringing that up.
To be fair, that still doesn't make sense why they did that.
I agree. Like I completely agree.
Aaron,
anyways,
what is up? Last question. Sorry for spamming. Any thoughts on a defense to pick up this week? Yeah, the one I talked about a lot on my waiver wire video was the Washington Commanders. They faced the Chicago Bears. Bears allow a lot of sacks, and the Commanders are top 7 in sacks per game. They're a good streaming option. The Lions versus the Panthers is a great streaming option. So yeah, those are a couple names I would throw out.
Yeah, agreed.
Need 80 points with Waller this game.
Here we go. Let's break some records.
I mean, I'm sorry. I can't even give you hope. It's not going to happen.
Just take him out your lineup. How about that?
Oh, jeez. Should I drop Pat Frymuth and get Nolan Gray? I'm assuming that's Noah Gray, and no, I would not do that. Okay. I'd keep Pat. It doesn't look good right now, but the good thing is, I want to go back and look. What did Pat look like with Mitch Trubisky? I know it's not a long-term thing, but also Pat Frymuth left the game himself last week
as well. It was a hamstring injury. But Pat last year, he did start off really strong with Mitch Trubisky, if I'm not mistaken, because Trubisky started like the first 3 games, and I remember us talking about Pat Frymuth like immediately coming out and being a fantasy impact.
He was better, but not by much. He scored about 9.7 points compared to 8.5 without, so not really much to look into there, I guess.
Well, last year?
Yeah.
With Mitch Trubisky, I mean, I'm looking at it last year when the first 3 games with Mitch Trubisky. Yeah. In the first 3 games, like, okay, yeah. I guess if you do your average, maybe it comes out to 9. Anyways.
Yeah. What's up, Kyrus? Will T-Law get better in the season, or do I ship him over to CJ, coasting with cheat McCode? I'm assuming that's McCaffrey. So I can wait till T-Law. Okay, here's what I'll say. Right now, I would view T-Law and CJ Stroud pretty much dead even rest of season. So I don't have a strong opinion either way. I would probably personally slightly lean Trevor still, but like I said, I don't have like a personal strong opinion on that. I view them very similar rest of the year.
Yeah, it's hard to go against T-Law, but CJ Stroud doing great things as a rookie right now. Achane, start 1 wide receiver, 1 flex, Miles Sanders, Pickens, Hopkins, Tank Dell. 1 one wide receiver, one flex.
The wide receiver, I would probably still go Tank Dell. I don't know how you feel about that.
I know he had a down week this week,
and that is something that I'll need to reflect in my rankings here in a second. I like these streams because they help me kind of fix and tinker with those rankings, but it would probably be Tank Dell for me. And then I'm not sure Miles Sanders should play because he's clearly not himself with that groin injury. They play the Lions. The Lions, you know, kind of locked up the Packers last week. They've actually been a pretty decent run defense. I think I would go Tank and Pickens here.
I would go Tank, and that's where I was going to go, Tank and Pickens. I know this is they're playing the Baltimore Ravens this next week.
Yeah.
So, or this week. So I think they're going to have to get something going here.
Yeah.
What's up with Trevor? I got really Ingram, T-Law. They're killing me right now. I mean, look, Chris. Hopefully, he bounce back. So that's a lot of.
It's a lot of one team to be relying on there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not something like I don't mind having like 2 guys from the same team, but 3, you're kind of always waiting on what's going to happen with them. Anyway,
Kamara
they will be better in my opinion.
Yeah, they will be better. Kamara, Achane. I'm going Kamara. I'm not sure about Zach, but both should be started personally.
Yeah, this would be Devon for me. This would be Devon. Like I said, I can see how Devon continues what he's doing. Maybe not. I'm not saying he's going to score like 2 touchdowns a game. However, I think he can continue to be very efficient in a very high-powered offense.
Yeah.
I struggle to see the Saints playing that piss poor last week and still thinking, let's get Alvin Kamara the ball 25 times. And specifically 14 targets for barely any yardage, you know? So
I agree.
When I look at these 2 guys, rest of season, I think I prefer Devon. And this week I prefer Devon as well.
No worries. I think with those touches in the air, I think, definitely not realistic. But I think the overall touches I kind of predict Alvin Kamara getting, I want to lean with that there, still mom. But I think both should be started, hopefully. Buddy, okay, guys, so I'm 1-3 after this week. I lost T. Higgins, Javonte Williams, who is a wide receiver 2 and RB2 with upside I can target to trade away Tony Pollard. This is the kind of thing that we say, brother, this is so many options.
Yeah.
Zach has that Sonic saying. I don't know if you want to go for it.
Yeah, I just always tell when they ask like, "Hey, what's the person I could trade for?" It's not a very easy question for us to answer on stream. We do trade videos every week, so maybe check those out. But it's like going to Sonic and being like, "Hey, how many drink combinations you guys got here?" They'll be like, "What do you mean?" Like thousands of combinations. You know, there's so many different players that you could trade for, and every league is different. You know, everyone's going to value players differently. So I hate to say that we can't really answer the question right now, but we're trying to answer as many start sits, and it just, you know, hopefully you understand. We got a lot of trade videos coming out soon, though. Thank you for being with us. What is up, Mason Legend? Asked you the other day, Elijah Moore or DJ Moore, and you recommended DJ. What a call. Got you. Should we talk about Elijah Moore?
We could talk about him.
Where do you stand as the truther here?
I still believe there is upside because of the targets. This past week, I think it's a fluke. I think we can all agree that DTR was not the answer. So I still believe in Elijah Moore because of the volume that he gets. I mean, he's still running the second most routes. He's matching up with targets with Amari Cooper. Now, has that come with the yardage that we were expecting? He's clearly the short yards kind of pass. I still think there is a boom game there. And when that does happen, maybe it does open things up to where Elijah Moore needs to be taken maybe more seriously. I don't know. I just think that there's opportunity for Elijah Moore still. And I think he's right now, I think he's a great flex option. He's probably not where I expected him to be because I said I see him finishing as a top 24 guy. I think that more pushes now into the 30s. But I think he can still finish there if he can get those big yardage games.
Okay. What's up, Beret? Trade Hawkinson, Moss, Watson, and Pierce for Adams and Swift in a standard format. Damn right. No PPR?
Right.
By the way, there's been some weird hate for PPR leagues on Twitter lately. I don't know if you've seen that. There's been some strange hate towards PPR on Twitter lately. I'm like, what's?
Wait, can you?
People don't like having fun.
Hello?
I'm hearing you. I don't know if you're hearing me.
Am I tripping?
I mean, I can hear him. Is
Oh,
something?
my thing turned off. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I was saying, like, I've been seeing some strange, like, hate for PPR on Twitter lately. Like, what?
Really?
Yeah, people are, like, hating on PPR. I'm like, what? You guys don't like having fun? I got no issue with PPR or half PPR. What? Just have fun, with either way. But anyway, trade Hawkinson, Zach Moss, I'm assuming, Christian Watson, and Damian Pierce for Adams and Swift. This really depends on, like, who your tight end is, right? Because you're losing Hawkinson. I just don't know who your tight end is if you were to lose Hawkinson. What I will say is Adams and Swift. Like, if you have a startable tight end, I'm doing this deal. I'm taking Adams. I'm taking Swift. They're clearly the best players by far, in this trade. So, yeah, that's how I would answer it.
I agree there.
We have a super chat from Ralph, so we'll get to that straight away. Thank you for the super chat, Ralph. Appreciate you. And he says, Are we holding and hoping on Kittle to get better? Man, it is so strange right now. Here's what I'll say. Like, we talked about this a little bit earlier. They have not been in games where they've really necessarily needed to throw the ball. Like, I know Purdy has, but it's been a lot of checkdowns to CMC. Ayuk's been doing his thing. A lot of checkdowns to Debo the previous week. But you think about it, they played Arizona last week. They had that game in hand. They really didn't need to push the ball downfield. They played the Giants in week 3, Thursday Night Football. Sorry, but we know how that went. Like, that was an absolute dominant performance. They played well versus Pittsburgh, dominated them. The only game that's been somewhat competitive is the Rams game, which was in week 2. And so, yeah, I mean, look, I'm not ready to necessarily, like, give up hope on him. I still think he's a starter every week in a 12-man league, but he's certainly not, like, tight end one upside.
Yeah, and this is somebody that I kind of was talking about all offseason, saying that I wouldn't be drafting George Kittle, and I kind of brought reasons why you should be selling him or not drafting him in redraft and in Dynasty. And oddly enough, the reasons why I brought why he was even going to be efficient and the reason why he had that 4-game stretch where he was a tight end 1 or a tight end like top 3 in those last 4 games, if I'm not mistaken. I think 4 out of the 6 games was because Deebo Samuel missed games. And the best game that he had this year, who was missing? Brandon Ayuk. When he has good games, somebody in that trio or that 4-weapon offense has to be missing. And those chances are high, right? Because Debo can miss time, CMC can miss time, and Ayuk miss time, where you saw George Kittle step up. So I'm somebody willing to trade away George Kittle as soon as possible as a whole. Once he has another boom game, what can I get for Kittle immediately? But
I would be looking to trade for him, honestly. Like that, I kind of see it the other way, just because there is a chance that Debo gets injured. There's a chance that Ayuk gets injured. We've already seen them dealing with injuries. But more importantly, like, the volatility at the tight end position is already so insane. Like, can I send a Jake Ferguson away? Because I'd be willing to do that. There's already, like, barely any tight ends you can start with any confidence. So Kittle just kind of, like, remains like a high upside, low floor play. But he's one of the better guys at doing that. So
at the position, yeah.
So,
I would agree there. I hear you in the position as a whole. Yeah. But in a dynasty perspective, 100%. If you can sell high, I would still personally do it. But maybe that's me.
Yeah, I don't think you could anymore. But I hear you.
Yeah, you definitely can't. I agree. Shahid, how are you feeling about Madison right now? I mean, I'll let you go. I mean, I'm not sure how you feel.
I feel pretty good, honestly. I don't know how we don't feel good about Madison. Obviously they brought in Akers last week. We didn't see Akers play. Madison was efficient. Yes, he had his issues fumbling, but he didn't fumble at all, right? I know that that's just a technicality. Then this week, Akers plays less than 30% of the snaps, 7 touches, and Madison sits there at 18. Now, there's a chance that Akers, his role continually grows, but, I mean, Akers was efficient. Madison was efficient. They looked like a good combination. I feel fine. I feel fine with Madison. I mean, 5.5 yards per attempt last week. Yeah, I feel fine.
Yeah, I mean, I bought him as somebody. I think I told you guys a lot that, like, your windows now to sell high on Madison, which was last week, and that there was going to be still a window here because they played Carolina. Don't expect that against Kansas City, who has a great run defense. So I think if you can trade Madison away and pivot to somebody else,
I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to trading
that.
away, but I just don't. I don't know that anyone is like.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is going to be saying, "Hey, yeah, I'll take Madison off your hands."
Yeah, he's a hard sell, I think. So,
100%.
It just depends
100%.
on the player. What's up, Alex? Full PPR. Pick one running back, one wide receiver, one flex. So this would be Monty, Cook, and it's between Pittman and Flowers for me. Pittman, I'll go Pittman versus Tennessee. So Flowers would be the sit there.
I go Pittman as well.
Yeah. Tingley, what's up? Start 2, Kamara, Achane, and Pacheco. This would be Kamara and Achane for us.
Yep, agreed.
Losing T. Higgins to IR. Is there a new report that's come out?
No, he's not on IR. He's not ruling. It says not ruling himself out for week 5.
He likely won't play this week, but there's a chance he does. I don't know. I don't think they'll put him on IR, but
there's no point. They have a bye week.
Right. Yeah. Is Michael Wilson, Dobbs, or Samuel any good? Tank Dell would actually be the guy I would target of all the names that you just said.
Yeah, agreed.
Start 2, Sanders, White, and Achane. This would be Achane and White isn't even playing this week, so you'll have to start Sanders. How serious? The Bucks are on bye, right? I'm not misremembering that.
I think the Bucks are on bye. Bucks, Seahawks, Chargers, Browns.
Okay.
Oh my
how
gosh,
serious is
football Giants?
How serious is Javante's injury? From the reports that we heard, he's not expected to miss much time. There's a chance he plays this week. So at most, I'd say he misses 1 or 2 weeks, but there's a chance he plays this week. So
yeah, I think he should be fine. I mean, the reports immediately came out saying that he would be great. So we'll see. Ray Gamer, trade away my original plans, Moss, Christian Watson. Sorry, let me just mute this because I'm hearing that. Or trade away my original plans, Moss, Christian Watson, and Christian Kirk for Waddle. Other options was Moss, Pierce, Watson, and Kirk for Waddle.
No, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, I would do the other one that we talked about.
I wouldn't do that. I agree. It got offered. Next question, got offered to trade JJ for Diggs and Jacobs. Other wide receivers are Watson, Higgins, Flowers, Palmer. Running backs are Ford, White, Charbonnet, and JT. Diggs and Jacobs.
Yeah, I would take the Diggs and Jacobs side. Jacobs
I'm okay with
really upgrades your running back room.
And you need that running back for sure.
Yeah.
Kenneth, trade Jamar Chase for Pollard and PPR. My running backs are Stevenson, Monty, White, Ford. Wide receivers are Adams, Nico, Puka.
I would say they're pretty much dead even, but I feel better about Pollard's production long term than I do Chase. I think, like I said, they're pretty even. I don't think you go wrong, but if I had to choose, I would be going Pollard there.
Yeah, is this a good trade? Should I trade Pacheco for Tank and James Cook? I would take Tank and James Cook personally. Rivers.
Yeah. Okay. Now's a good time to buy Tank if people are like, oh, maybe it is just Nico. I think we're gonna see a back and forth thing for most of the year
for Nico and Tank. G Medina. So what's good, fellas? New subscriber. My backs are okay. What's the question? Which of the 3 would you flex?
Okay.
Next week, Etienne, Pacheco, and Madison have a tough matchup.
This would be Etienne and...
No, sorry. My backs are Bijan, Etienne, Monty, Pacheco, Madison. Next week, Etienne, Pacheco, and Madison have a tough matchup.
I think the question is between Etienne, Pacheco, and Madison, which of the 3 would you start? But if the question is between all your running backs, it would be Bijan, it would be Monty, and it would be Etienne.
But if you had to choose out of the 3 that you mentioned, which was Etienne, Pacheco, and Monty, or Madison.
Well, yeah, there's no way because there's only 3 that he's talked about there. So
yeah,
I just realized that we're both idiots, unfortunately. So yeah, we're both like Bijan, ET, and Monty, right?
Yeah, agreed.
AC says
super chat.
The show consists of guys showing his balls. I think you'd enjoy it.
You actually would. Genuinely.
Cap for life. Thank you for the super chat. We'll get to your question straight away here, gentlemen. Herbert, 22 points. Thanks for your help. Got you. As long as you're also loving us when we make the wrong call, right? So there'll be times when we're right and times when we're wrong, but we appreciate you. Glad you glad you hopefully got your win this week with our help. What's up, Nicholas? Where do you have Achane and Ridley ranked rest of season? Also, should I trade Chase for Lamb and Collins?
Chase for Lamb and Collins. If
So-
you need the wide receiver depth, I would be okay with that.
Same. I'm fine with that as well. I do think C Lamb's going to be better rest of season than what he has been so far. I mean, I know we talked about it a little bit with the Niners, but the Cowboys have been even more drastic. They have not needed to throw the ball at all. The only time they did was versus the Cardinals, really. Like, they dominated the Giants in week 1, dominated the Jets in week 2. The Cardinals was a crazy game they lost. But then versus the Patriots, they also dominated them. They haven't needed to throw the ball. Like, CeeDee Lamb's actually a pretty good buy low, now that I think about it. But
I think both of these teams are going to be challenged this week. 49ers and the Cowboys.
yeah.
So we'll watch that. We'll watch out for that.
As far as the other question, Achane and Ridley. Achane would be like a top 15 back for me rest of season. Ridley is like hovering around 15 to 20 at this moment. And I do think we should acknowledge that Calvin Ridley was shadowed by AJ Terrell the entire matchup versus Atlanta. So that is something that's worth noting. Caleb, what is up? Would y'all trade AJ Brown for Saquon?
When he's healthy and full PPR, my running backs are so weak, and Gibbs is my RB1. My other wide receivers are JJ, McLaurin, Pitt. So
No,
I'm good.
I really don't think I would.
I mean, I don't.
It's pretty much a dead even trade.
What I will be doing is be trading, McLaurin high, maybe Pittman high. You can't do Pittman high this week because he had a bad game. But can you sell Terry and get somebody? Can you send Michael Pittman and get somebody?
Would you do Terry for James Conner?
I would.
Okay. Yeah.
I would do
I would find a way to try and keep AJ Brown on my team.
Yeah, exactly. I would do. I would definitely want to keep those guys. But yeah, James Conner is definitely a name. James Cook could be a name out there. Maybe you can get more for James Cook. Maybe somebody on the down right now, like someone like a Joe Mixon. I think we both believe will have better games to come. Not sure how you feel about that. Maybe a Ramondre Stevenson. I still think he's priced, but he also had a down game. We'll see.
We'll be live for like the next 4 to 3 minutes because the game is going to start here soon. So get a super chat in if you want your question answered straight away. We'll do our best here. iPhoenix says 14 team full PPR. They are giving Tua and want Christian Kirk, Zach Ertz, and Musgrave. I mean, I'm fine with that if you have a wide receiver room that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I'll be okay with that.
Big Game says, do you like this trade? I get Pollard, DK, Miles Sanders, and McKinnon. I give Achane, Pittman, Mixon, and Johnson. I'm assuming that's Quentin. And yeah, that's a pretty easy no-brainer yes for me. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I would agree.
Would you trade away Ridley and Zach Moss for Swift and Thielen?
Ridley and Zach Moss for Swift and Thielen.
I think I would. Honestly, I think I would. I'm obsessed with Calvin Ridley, but I really do think I would. DeAndre Swift looks like the absolute truth. I'll have to eat an L on that one because he looks absolutely incredible behind that Eagles offensive line.
I want DeAndre Swift.
Zach Moss is someone I am looking to trade away. I actually brought him as a trade away last week. And, it's so funny when, like, players randomly burst into, like, a performance, and then you question. They've been bad for, like, 4 years. And you're like, maybe we shouldn't trust this, guys. And you get comments like, this guy's an idiot. Doesn't he know Zach Moss is related to Santana Moss? They have the same blood. Someone literally commented that. Like, this guy's a clown. Like, oh, okay. Fair enough.
It's a classic. It's a classic.
Styles says, got another one, fam. Start 2 for the week. Half PPR. Olave, Addison, Gibbs. I think this has to be Olave and Gibbs. The fact that I'll just say this. Like, what the hell are the Vikings doing at this point? Like, I understand Addison is only out there in 3 wide receiver sets. He's not out there in 2 wide receiver sets. He still hasn't overtaken KJ Osborne. I don't know how that's possible. I really don't. Makes no sense to me. But the fact that there's a possibility for him to get 1 target on a week, you have to start Gibbs.
I just think that this game was also it was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, 19 attempts for Kirk Cousins. 19 attempts.
Yeah, that is true. They ran the ball a lot.
Yeah, they ran the ball a lot. The offense wasn't on the field. I mean, this offense was on the field because both these offenses were getting on and off the fields. It was a defensive game.
I have to be honest. I hated how good their run game was for fantasy. I hate that that's potentially changing. Yeah. Sorry. Nobody wants you to run the ball.
Cam Akers, baby.
Nobody wants you to run the ball. You know, not a soul wants you to run the ball.
Yeah. I hear you.
Swordfish says, I understand Addison was the better play at the time. No disrespect intended. Hope you guys know I was just messing with you. No, you're good, man. You're good, man. It happens. There are people who genuinely like hate message us because we tell them to start someone. So I appreciate that. JT for Puka. I'll keep Puka.
I would agree.
Buddy says, I understand. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the great content as usual. Good luck tonight, Giants. I need you to at least allow Kenneth Walker to rush for 63 yards for my parlay to hit. All right, well, let's hope that happens.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible, but we'll wait and see because we'll wait and see.
All right, let's quick fire this. Let's get all the way through Big M's, okay? And then we're gonna log off. Drop a like if you guys haven't dropped a like. We're gonna quick fire so we can watch this game. Dubs is sitting on waiver. Do you think he will be good pickup? Yes.
Yes, agreed.
Brought him in the waiver wire videos. Steven says Achane, Ridley, Pierce, and Justin Ross for Olave. How far off is this package?
I want Chris Olave still.
Yeah, just not if we're gonna see that Derek Carr for the next 3 weeks. I think Achane's the truth. Maybe this is just my Achane truther coming out too hard here.
You know, I'm giving the flowers to Achane and to you. Because I think, he is a top guy and needs to be started every week. But I think Chris Olave will be better the long-term fantasy compared to everyone else.
But they're in two different situations. Like, I feel like Derek Carr, is he going to be stubborn and start? Because that's not good for Olave, you know?
Yeah, I hear you.
Pick 2, Achane, James Cook, Josh Jacobs. This will be Jacobs and James Cook for me, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Got offer in a 10 team, 1 quarterback. 3 flex, sending Achane, Pittman for Lamb, Jones, Hollywood, and Juju. Achane and Pittman for Lamb, Aaron Jones. Honestly, I'm fine with this trade. I just don't know why Juju's even rostered.
Agreed.
Like, Juju's not someone that's even on my team.
Well.
Juju's comfortably on the waiver wire, especially in a 10-man.
Comfortably on the waiver wire.
2-parter. 1, should I sell high on Gabe Davis or Kirk? And 2, what wide receiver would you need to be added to Connor to get Diggs? Really hate to trade him, but suffering at running back. I mean, you're trading for Diggs at the wrong time, my man. Really, really trading for him at the wrong time. Off a 3-touchdown game, I don't think you're going to be able to get him. But I'll say this, if you can package Connor and Gabe or Connor and Kirk and get Diggs, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yep, I would agree. That's where I was going to go.
And Kirk is someone I'm willing to sell high when Zay Jones comes back. Arrow says PPR, Mahomes, Eckler, Stevenson, Kamara, Pacheco, Amon-Ra, Keenan Allen, Pittman. I'm not sure what the question is.
He just says any moves. Kelsey owner is 0-4. Should I package a Porter to go get him? If you can, sure.
Absolutely.
See what you can do.
Yeah.
See what you can do. Sergio, would you trade Kenneth Walker for Jamar Chase? Thanks. Straight up, I think Kenneth Walker right now is way more valuable than Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase will be better long term. But I think it all depends on your running backs. What's your running back depth look like? So many other questions, you know?
I know I said this a bit ago, but want more. But he wants a bit more. I get Pollard, DK, Miles Sanders, McKinnon, and Dak. And I give Achane, Pittman, Mixon, and Johnston, and Hurts. No. Lawrence in the late first for Higgins and Stroud. That's pretty dead even deal there, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty dead even. That is going to be it for today. Unless you have a strong opinion on that, I don't.
No, Stroud looks like the truth, and I'm excited for it. I love it. Okay. I cannot wait to see what happens with Stroud. But you had to go Tilo. But we'll see. Appreciate you guys.
That's it for today, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. Hopefully, whatever you need to happen happens for you here on Monday Night Football. And we'll see you tomorrow. We'll be live streaming tomorrow. All love.